Hey, what is up, everybody? We are about to embark on a new topic called System of Equations. What we're going to do is I'm going to teach you how to solve a system of equation using your calculator here. So the first thing you should do before you go any further is pause the video, write down these notes, and then hit play so that you can kind of follow along with me. So here we go. So to solve systems of equations using your calculator, what we're going to do is we're going to set up a matrix, okay? And a matrix is going to be a 2 by 3 matrix. The way a matrix is set up, and you can kind of see it here, is you're going to have your x values lined up, your y values lined up, and then equals your constants over here. To do it, you're going to be hitting, most of the time we're going to be going second matrix. And if you look over here at the calculator, so second is this button here, and the x -1 you can see right here in yellow. That's your matrix. So here's the notes. You would go right arrow, that's right here. These are your arrows. And then you're going to make a 2 by 3. So you'll see here I captured that. It says 2 by 3 there, but when you go to use the calculator for the first time, it's going to say, I think, 0 by 0 or maybe 1 by 1. And you're going to put in a 2 by 3. So it looks like this here. Then once you enter the stuff into the calculator, you're going to go ahead and go back to the matrix a couple of times, and it's going to eventually give us an answer that looks like this that we'll get into later. So again, make sure you pause the video, copy down all these notes first, and then move on. Okay, so I'll try and, so here they all are here. All right, so let's do it. So here is our first lesson, first couple questions. Now, what you guys are more used to seeing is solving for a single variable, and like x plus 3 equals 10, and you just move the 3 over, so x is 7. Then we got into questions like graphing x plus y equals or 7 or y equals 7 minus x, where you can graph it and find points that satisfy the x and the y. But now what happens when we have two equations set up, where you have two variables like this here, where you can see you have an x and a y, and you want that to find a value that you can plug in to solve both equations. So here we go, using the calculator. Again, you can do this by hand, not what we're looking to do right now, it's just using the calculator. So the first thing we want to make sure that we have set up is that all the variables line up. So here I can see all my x's, here I can see all my y's, then the equal signs, and then my numbers. That's really important. Then we're going to set up the matrix so that it'll look like it's going to look in the calculator. So I'm going to copy the constants down. So that's the number in front of the variable. That's -4, that's -2, and then that's -12. So the signs are also very important. Then you have here 4, 8, and 24, and that's a negative. So it's important, or I think it's very important, to write it all down first, so that when you go to transfer it into your calculator, you can kind of check and double check to make sure that you got it all in there in the right way. So here we go. Following the steps that you wrote down. So the first thing you do is you're going to hit second and matrix. Then it says you're going to go right arrow over to edit. You know what I'll do right second? Let me just clear my calculator so that my calculator will look like yours. So again, here, okay, back to the matrix, over to edit. So you see A, and then it says to hit enter. So like we said, it's a 1 by 1. We're going to change it. We're going to hit 2, enter, 3, enter, and then there's the zeros. And if you look at the setup on the calculator here and the setup that we did over there on our paper, they look the same. Now we just have to put our numbers in. So it's -4, enter, -2, enter, -12, enter, 4, enter, 8, enter, -24, enter. And then you go again, check, double check, make sure that the numbers are all the same, because if you miss the number, the calculator's still going to be able to, or if you miss a sign, the calculator's still going to try to calculate that no matter what. So then we're going to get out of this once we have all of our numbers in. So we're going to hit second mode, that gets us out. Then we go back to the matrix. Second, x negative 1. Now we go right arrow one time, and then you're going to go down until you see the letter B. Okay, it says RREF. Don't confuse it with letter A. You're going to hit enter one time. Again, you go back to the matrix one more time. You hit enter, enter, and right there we just solved our question. So what it says here is it says, let's see. Says 1, 0, 6, 0, 1, negative 6. And what this means, okay, what this means is, remember, this first here was x, and then this here were our y values. So these here, this is telling me the value of x, and then this here is telling you the value of y. And it's always going to be set like this, unless it's a special case, maybe infinite or no solutions. So I would say that the value of x is 6, and the value of y is negative 6, and I am finished. I found my values of x and y. And that is how you do these questions, okay? So I'll do a couple more just for practice so that you can see, but all of them are going to follow this exact same process. And again, there are ways of doing this by hand, but not for this video. So if I go ahead and I copy these constants down, 4, 8, and 20, and then I do -4, +2, and -30, this is what I come up with. So now to do this in my calculator, second, x negative 1, right arrow, enter. And our previous question was in there, and you don't have to erase it all. You can kind of copy right over it. So I would do 4, enter, 8, enter, 20, enter, -4, enter, 2, enter, -30, enter. Once I do that, I'll double check, make sure I didn't miss a sign. Quit, second mode. Okay. Then if I go back to the matrix, right arrow one time, go down to letter B, hit enter, go back to the matrix and hit enter 2 times, and now I can copy down what it says, which is 107. Okay, 107, 0, 1, and -1. So here, right there, this is telling me the value of x. This is telling me the value of y. So x equals 7, y equals -1, and you're completed. So if you feel like I'm maybe going too fast as I hit the buttons, remember you can always pause, go back. I would say pause right now, try and do number 3 and number 4, and then hit play and see if you got the answers correct. Okay, so now I don't see a constant. Remember, there's always a 1 there if there's not a number in front. So here's the matrix. I need to get into my calculator. Go to the matrix, right arrow to edit, 2 by 3, 1, -1, and 11, 2, 1, 19. Then we're going to quit out of that. Go back to the matrix, to the right, to math, down to letter B, hit enter. Go back to the matrix again, hit enter 2 times, and there you go. 1, 0, 10, 0, 1, -1. So x is equal to 10, and y is equal to -1. And going over here, -6, 5, and 1, 6, 4, and -10. We'll go ahead, copy this into our matrix. So I'll go second, matrix. Take your time with it. I would say don't try to feel too overwhelmed with it. It might feel like I'm going really fast, but I can guarantee that once you guys start doing this on your own, Practicing doing 3, 4, 5 problems, you'll get just as fast, and you'll feel like, well, this is probably the easiest thing I can do. Okay, don't forget to quit before you go back to the matrix. We'll go to math, letter B, matrix one more time, enter, enter, 1, 0, -1, 0, 1, -1. So x is -1 and y is -1. So if you paused it and did it yourself, hopefully you got the same answers. Now, that's, generally most of the time that's the way it's going to go. That's the way you're going to do it if you don't have to show work. Maybe it's multiple choice, or maybe you just don't want to show the work and you'll just get whatever credit you get for just showing the answer. But what happens when they start to try to trick you and they give it to you out of order? Like this question here, in numbers 5 and 6 and 7. Well, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set it up the way the calculator likes it. So if you think about it, the calculator likes the x, the calculator likes the y, the calculator likes the number. It likes this setup here, okay, where this is your equal sign. So if I'm looking at this one is in the correct order where it has x's and y's on one side and then the number on the correct side. It's just flip-flopped. So you can just literally turn the question around and just rewrite it as -7x minus 20y equals -14. I literally changed nothing. The numbers are exactly the same. I just put them in a different order, which you're allowed to do. But you can't do that in this question here, because if we're looking at it, I want the x's and the y's on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. The x and the y are on totally different sides. So really, I can just move this 2x over there and this 4 over here. That would put the x and the y on the left and the right here. Now, the way this is different is I'm switching between the equal sign. And the other ones, I didn't change anybody's location. But here, I'm going to move this 2x to the other side, which means I'm going to change his sign. The 10y, I'm going to leave alone. And then the 4, I'm going to move over to the right side so it becomes a -4. So that's the matrix you're going to want to set up right there. -7, -20, -14, and then you have -2, +10, and -4. If you're getting a little lost or confused as to why I changed the signs on this one and I didn't change the sign on this one, and you want to be like, well, I feel like I should just always be doing the same thing, you technically could. You could make this a +7, a +20, and a +14. Because remember, the rule is when you move from one side to the other, then what you're supposed to do is you have to change the sign. Okay, so whether you decided to do +7, +20, +14, or -7, -20, -4, it's the same thing. But the bottom one, that's important. That's really the only way you're going to do that one. All right, so let's get his answer. So if I go to second matrix, edit, now would be a good time to maybe hit pause and make sure that you can get this in your calculator yourself, and then just fast forward to the answer. Okay, -14, -2, +10, -4. Again, double check to make sure you put the numbers in right, because if you missed a sign, then the whole thing's going to be wrong. Oh, and then you're going to get lost, and you're not going to know why, and it was all because of a sign. And there you go. Okay, so according to this, x is 2, y is 0, and there's my answers. X equals 2, y equals 0. Okay, so if you want to give a pause, try 6, very similar, trying to set up the x's and the y's on the correct side. That'd be great. Otherwise, here we go. So if I'm looking at this one, I have everybody on the left side and there's literally nothing on the right. So all I want to do is move this 3 over here, change his sign. So I'm going to rewrite this as 2x minus y equals -3. And now this question here, okay, I need to get this -3 over here, and then this +10 over there. So a +10 becomes a -10, then that goes there, and then the -3 now becomes a +3. And there's my matrix. My matrix is now going to be 2, -1, -3, negative 10, negative 7, positive 3. Okay, again, if you want to give it a pause, try it yourself. But I'm going to do negative 2, see? Nope, positive 2. Positive 2, negative 1, negative 3, negative 10, negative 7, and positive 3. Quit out, back to the matrix, over 1, down to letter B, hit enter. Back to the matrix one more time, enter 2 times, x is negative 1, y is positive 1. And here we go, 7. Now if you look at 7, if I'm going to set up this matrix, 8's good, 9's good, 48's good, but wait a minute, where is the x? Well, there is none. So what number is none? 0. So watch out, sometimes they could try to trick you and say, okay, well, I'm not going to put that variable in there. If the variable is not there, it's 0. Okay, so that's why I'm going to have a 0 right there. He's the placeholder for the x. You can't put nothing. Okay, so I go to the matrix here. I'll go 2 by 3. I'll plug in 2 by 3. I'll plug in an 8. I'll plug in a 9. I'll plug in the 48. Now I'm going to plug in 0. He's the placeholder for the x that's not there. Negative 8.5 and negative 51. Quit out. Back to the matrix. Down to letter B. Back to the matrix. Enter 2 times. And there you go. So here it's saying x equals negative 0.75 and y is equal to positive 6. Done. All right, and I think I gave one more problem here. Yep. Okay, so sometimes they might give you as multiple choice, and that's when the calculator works the best. So it's saying which system will yield or have the same solution as the system below. So all you have to do is create a matrix here, 1, negative 1, and 3, 2, negative 3, and negative 1. Then get his matrix, find his solutions, 1, negative 1, and 3, 2, negative 3, and negative 1. Quit out. Back to the matrix. And then you go one more time. So you know that his solution here is x equals 10, y equals 7. So this is the solution. It wants to know who's going to have the same solution. So you go through each one of these and you say, all right, well, here's negative 2, negative 2, negative 6, 2, negative 3, negative 1. Find his solution. Negative 2, positive 2, and 3, 2, negative 3, negative 1. Find his solution. 2, negative 2, and 6, 2, negative 3, and negative 1. Find a solution. 3, 3, 9, and 2, negative 3, and negative 1. Find his solution. And you are looking to see who has a solution of 10 and who, for x and who has a solution of y. And then that would be your final answer. And the correct answer here would be choice number 3, I believe. Let's check. Let's go to the matrix. And I'm saying 2 by 3, 2, negative 2, 6, 2, negative 3, negative 1. To the matrix. Enter, enter. 10 and 7, there it is. This one has the same solution, so my answer is 3. And if you tried these guys, you would notice that the solutions were different. So that's how you knew it wasn't the correct answer. So I hope this video helped you guys. Let your friends know. Hit the subscribe button, like button. Let me know what you guys think. So this is, again, finding how to solve systems of equations using the calculator only. Eventually I can cancel.